So you grew up in Florida, and then you moved away. You moved to a different state or a different country. And now you're asking yourself, should you and can you move back to Florida? Well, that's what I want to talk about in this video. It's dedicated to my Patreon, Brent, who had shared with me that he grew up in South Florida. He moved to Canada, and he's either thinking about or has thought about what it would be like to move back to Florida. Can you come back home? Where is home? It's kind of like a journey we go on in life to see where we fit in. You know, even when we're young, we're trying to choose friends and people that accept us. And a lot of times we don't choose the right ones because we try to fit in so people will accept us rather than being ourselves and working on ourselves to become better people. Because you have to not just be yourself, but work on yourself to become a better person and find where you feel at home. It's a little bit of an elusive feeling, meaning that, home, they say home is where the heart is. You definitely will feel more comfortable in certain areas than others, and you'll feel more inspired in certain areas than others. And you always have to be honest with yourself that nothing in this world is perfect. So I think when you look at life through that lens, I think you begin to narrow down the choices of where you want to live. It's like when you're taught in school how to solve a problem on a test. If it's a multiple choice test, the first way to solve the problem or answer the question is process of elimination. So if you're faced with A, B, C, and D, what doesn't fit? So if you know that you don't want to live somewhere where there's a lot of snow, you've eliminated certain areas. If you know you don't want to live in a certain part of the state that's or a certain part of the country that's a lot of mountains, you want to live in a flatland, or you don't want to live in flatland, you want to live in a mountainous land. So you start to just process of elimination. Another process of elimination is, where you want to live, how can you get an income, what industries are relevant in that area. But ultimately in life, can you and should you come back to Florida if you moved away? Maybe you moved away for a job opportunity, for a love interest. You could always change your life. You should always change your life. Time is like a river. You can never touch the same spot twice. I think if you left Florida and came back, I think it would be different because it is different. Stores that once used to be at a certain place, maybe they're not all going to be the same. People are not going to be the same. They'll be a little different. So I think difference and things changing is part of life. But I think what doesn't change, and for the most part, is the overall climate, the atmosphere, the environment. The environment is, for Florida, the tropics, tropical environment. Different parts of Florida, country land in the middle of the country, in the middle of the state. The west coast of Florida has a certain feel. The east coast of Florida has a certain feel. North Florida has a certain feel. South Florida. So I think you can and you should change your life based on what's most important to you. But I think that is a personal question that each of us have to answer in our own way. And what I've learned in life is not everyone will be happy for you. A lot of people will be happy for you. But it's very interesting in life when you start to separate yourself and when you start to express yourself and go after what you want. It's very similar to what they say of the crab who tries to make its way out of the bucket. The other crabs will pull you down because they don't want you to leave them behind. And I find that to be true. I find that there are a lot of positive supporting people, but you have to consciously choose to keep them in your life. And I think that when you move and when you change, the crabs go to pull you down because you're getting ready to leave a bucket. You live in a certain area and you're getting ready to leave that area. There's going to be a couple people that support you, but there's going to be a lot of people that pull you down because they don't want you to leave them. Or they just don't want to see you be able to change, and then it makes them look in the mirror and say, well, why can't I change? And it makes them look at their own, doing the work of their own life. Should you and can you come back to Florida? Yes. If you have decided that that's what's best for you. Your best life is a personal decision. So personal that you need a biometric access. On phones now, like on my phone, I have a biometric access, meaning that my thumbprint has to get scanned or pressed onto the phone to unlock it. Security feature. So that no one else can control my phone. Your life, your best life, has a security feature. It's called your identity, your choices. As an adult, you make your choices. Sometimes we don't always make the right choice, and that's painful. I've been there. Always, it's always going to be part of life. You got to keep going. But change and adapt as much as you need. And I'm using Florida as the example. Again, shout out to my guy Brett, inspired me to make this. Thank you again for your love on Patreon. But you can apply this to anything. I'm talking about a mindset. I'm talking about the way you look at life. Your best life certainly doesn't happen by accident. You certainly need luck. You do. You need some of the grace of God. But you certainly need to work. Faith without works is dead. You need both. And look, no one's going to help you move but you. No one's going to put your house on the market but you. No one's going to change jobs but you. No one wants your best life as much as you. And you better remember that every day of your life, because there are crabs constantly thumbs down and pulling you back, pulling into their negativity, pulling you into their laziness, because they don't want to look in the mirror and do the work and get out of the bucket themselves. And it's a shame that they do that, because many people I know that go on in life, they do look to help, but you'll never want to help someone who is spiteful to you. You just won't want to do it because they're toxic. So what I can tell you is, whether you live in Florida, Canada, Australia, or Brazil, get away from the toxic people, get away from the toxic environment, and you go where you're inspired, where your best life is waiting for you, with your biometric access. A palm tree and the beaches. That's my biometric access to my best life. Peace and love.